Hello, and welcome back to the 15th installment of Reconciling Zero as we go in search of Effective Zen. The question we posed last episode was, what do we make of the direct knowledge gate? Recall that as part of our quest to answer the question, is this Zen Mountain, we are examining the notion of zero-buddhism, the conditions necessary for the activity of Buddhism to arise. Previously, we identified three such conditions. First, we need a clear picture of the realization of infinite mind. Second, we need a clear picture of the path to the realization of infinite mind. Last, we need an understanding of the obstacles expected along this path. And today, we want to return to the second of the three conditions required for the activity of Buddhism to arise. The path to the realization of infinite mind. Recall the Buddha's quote from his first discourse. Quote, "I awakened to the middle way, which gives rise to vision, which gives rise to knowledge, which leads to equanimity, to direct knowledge, to self-awakening, to unbinding," end quote. And previously, we investigated the notions of stillness and frameworks. Stillness as a vital characteristic of activity, and frameworks as necessary instructional devices. And we also noted the two essential components of all frameworks, that they have two fundamental states, and that one of those states must be universally preferred, the end of suffering, for example. And over the next 3 weeks, we will examine the final three of the Buddha's four gates from the perspective of stillness, while holding them up to the Buddha's framework of suffering and the Zen master Joshu Sasaki's framework of clarity. As we look at these gates, we will be asking the following questions. First, how is it that one arrives at this particular gate? Second, how does one pass through this gate? Third, what changes from pre-gate to post-gate? And last, as teachers, what is the Buddha doing at this time? And what is Joshu Sasaki doing to help their students progress along the path? Last week, we investigated the first of the Buddha's gates, equanimity, and today we will look at the second, direct knowledge. And the four questions. First, how does one arrive at the direct knowledge gate? Well, before arriving at this gate, one must have passed through the equanimity gate. Namely, that one has experienced stillness. And having experienced stillness, there is now the desire to persistently manifest that stillness. The search then becomes one of learning how to do just that. Next, how does one pass through the direct knowledge gate? Well, by grasping one's teacher's framework. Recall that we investigated frameworks in the past, where the Buddhist framework was that of suffering, with two states, suffering and the end of suffering. And Joshu Sasaki's framework was that of clarity, where one was either perfectly clear or not so clear. Third question, what changes from pre-gate to post-gate? Simply that one now recognizes the prevalence of one's teacher's framework in one's own life. In the case of Buddha and Sasaki, one recognizes the presence of or absence of suffering, or one recognizes clarity or lack of clarity. But more than just recognizing the manifestations of these frameworks, one now knows the details, so that in addition to recognizing suffering, one understands the cause of suffering, and one may eventually choose to end suffering. Likewise, in addition to recognizing the lack of clarity, one understands the cause of this lack of clarity and may eventually choose clarity. The last question, As teachers, what is the Buddha doing at this time, and what is Sasaki doing to help their students progress along the path? The Buddha is lecturing on the Four Noble Truths, and Sasaki is lecturing on clarity as a manifestation of zero. Note that these lectures are often remarkably detailed, designed to provide a solid conceptual basis on which to build a complete understanding of each teacher's frameworks. So that's it for the direct knowledge gate. But how might we sum up the activity required for this second gate in just a few words? How about this? Fully grasp your teacher's framework. And so, we now have a rough idea of both the equanimity and direct knowledge gates that the Buddha identified in his first lecture. 2 down and 2 to go. So for next week, we pose the question, what do we make of the self-awakening gate? And until next episode, cheers!